Watch your steps.
Are they staying in your house? They're leaving on good, but. Oh, okay.
That's an area, you know, well, it's north of 4th Street
So.
and to the river, and the plants are pretty amazing if they if they wanted to. It's sort of like the opposite of what Butler's doing at the Ovation site. We're not letting them run it. We're going to try to keep everything 3 to 7 stories, and that's along the river. And then plug it in the old street and been there to make it connect. Like we were in the Riverside area over to Main Street. Like a one neighborhood. So and there'll be a little public green space. We have a lot of mainly residential.
What's that?
This is what it's got.
Hello and welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Sorry about the delay. Will, who's our tech person, is sick today, and it's been a long time since I've done the Zoom and the live stream and things, so I was a little rusty. So we'll get going here. So welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of Florence, December 18th meeting. If you don't know who I am, I'm Julie Pyle and I'm president of our club for this year. So welcome everyone. Team 4, which is membership. Dwayne, where's Dwayne?
Dwayne. Or Dawn. I'm for Dawn is gonna do the.
Is it Don? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Don.
Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, as we enter this time of the Christmas season and then the Hanukkah season, we ask your blessing upon our families and our friends as we celebrate these seasons. And we ask that you watch over everyone, keep us all safe, keep our club safe. And today we're going to hear from one of our state senators. We ask that the year ahead, the session ahead, be productive and safe for all of the representatives and senators. Thank you, O Lord, for all your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen.
And if we can ask someone to stand for the pledge.
Pledge
allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is it true?
Is it fair to all?
will it build goodwill and
Better friendships.
Sorry.
rusty on that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did Dwayne come back in? Right there. That's Sean,
Folks were looking for you.
do you have any updates from Team 4? What's going on with Team 4 membership?
Yes, we will be doing an NKU basketball night, January, February, and it'll be a Rotary night. And one of our goals is to have another open house. We did one of that a couple of years ago and it was extremely successful. So that's a quick update on Team 4.
Awesome. Okay. Sean.
Yes, we have. Looks like Grace Herman is with us. Grace is back. Well, Grace, would you stand and get a round of applause from everybody here?
where are you studying these days, Grace? Your mom always brags about you.
I'm a graduate student at Western Kentucky University.
Congratulations, you're a hilltopper. All right, and I guess you're doing well since you're a graduate student?
I hope so.
It took me 7 or 8 years to earn that bachelor's degree. Congratulations, way to go. We have Jenny Sand back with us. Welcome, Jenny. You want to stand and tell folks what you do?
Sure. Hi, Jenny Sand, and I'm in Community and Government Relations at Northern Kentucky University.
We'd love to have you as a member, Jenny, so welcome.
I'm on that show.
Okay, good.
About 20
Good.
years, so.
Steve
yeah.
Franks from the Covington Rotary. Steve, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us what you do.
Let's see, I'm past president of Covington Club 2006 and was the chair of the permanent fund of 6740 for about 10 years. A certified financial planner, work at Wells Fargo, and somehow I got to know this gentleman once or twice about government and state law. I was the vice mayor of the city of Covington.
Welcome, Steve. John's always glad to have somebody with money around him. Welcome, Josh Hunt, City of Florence. Josh, tell us what you do.
Hello, Josh Hunt, City of Florence. I assist the mayor with everything that she needs to keep Florence operating.
There you go. Thank you. And the mayor's here. Welcome, Mayor. Julie. We all know what you do. You help me see better all the time, so that's good. And Josh, I gotta tell you, this might not be your area, but the city of Florence, snow removal is the best in Northern Kentucky. They do a fantastic job.
Right.
They started running their routes in September to get ready. And I mean, they do a great job.
They do a great job. They really do. It's kind of, I live in an area where it's county up here and city down here.
Yes.
And I have to traverse through the county part, always snow covered. I think in 30 years, the county's beaten the city twice.
Now, Gary Moore's gonna be here any minute. I want to get done with that.
You only got another year left. What do you care? Sophie Pyle and Joseph Pyle, you guys, your mother spends dollars every week bragging bucks for Rotary. Now, why don't you stand up and tell us what you really do? Oh, ladies first. I like that.
Hi, I'm still a student at the University of Kentucky, still studying psychology. I'm involved in a lot now. Like I just got elected vice president of academic excellence for my sorority. That's a head of like 200 girls. I'm a research assistant in a sleep lab, which is super fun. I get to do homework while monitoring people overnight. And I'm also an ambassador for the College of Arts and Sciences. So
Welcome. Wow, thank you. All right, Joseph, you got that to follow.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Joseph. I'm a senior at Boone County High School, going to UK next year for public policy. And I'm a member of NHS and on the cross country team.
All right. Jonathan Brown is back with us. Welcome, Jonathan. I hear you're a friend of Shickles.
I am, and I'm the Boone County PBA. I'm the one you get upset with when you get your tax bill.
Yeah. I was yelling Helmick. You were the guy?
I'll keep yelling to help me.
He collects the money.
There you go.
That's how much you.
Kim Webb, welcome, Kim. You got a new job since the last time I saw you. Tell us all about it.
I did.
Well, you were at that other place. Now you're at the emergency shelter.
Oh, I've been at the, I'm the executive director of the emergency shelter in Northern Kentucky. I've been there for 9 years. So
9 years. You got a new building.
Oh, I got a new building.
You got a new building. Yeah. Thank
I
you.
live in Boone. I live in Florence or unincorporated Florence.
We call it Oak Brook sometimes.
Yeah, we call it Thunder Ridge.
There you go. That's even closer. Did I miss anybody? Well, that's good. Now, this weekend was a wonderful, wonderful sports weekend. There was a bunch of naysayers sitting around me at the Bengals game. I don't know why. Some guy named Browning had a terrible first 3 quarters. And he came around in the end and the Bengals pulled it out and they are in 6th place now for potential playoffs. Today. Immediately following that, the Kentucky Wildcats were in Catlanta and took care of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Go Cats. And my Louisville friends in here, my deepest apologies. I think that rapper Jack is gonna be your next head coach down there, and I'm a big Kenny fan. That's about all I know. I'm hoping that Gary Wilmot or somebody will give you an update on our.
I have a slide for it.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Sean.
Mhm.
Okay, first thing up, we are accepting call for nominations for president-elect designee. So Ian Addington's our president for next year. We're looking for the year after that. Also, we have 2 board member openings because we had to stagger our terms. So our 1-year people are done, Peter and Michelle. And so we're looking for nominations for 2 people for a 3-year term. So, and of course, Peter and Michelle are welcome to volunteer again too, if they'd like to. Due statements went out this morning. Check your email. Carrie emailed those out. Also, if you happen to take pictures, there's a Google Drive. You can upload pictures from any events. Don't forget Rotary Leadership Institute, January 27th. As soon as I see the details of registration for that, I'll send that out. Philanthropic Pints. Ian and I went to that this last week. It was great. We had members from Covington, Cincinnati, ourselves, and Kenton County were there. And it was great discussion talking about how, as a region, we can all collaborate together and support each other's initiatives, but also keeping mindful of the calendar so we're not overlapping with each other. So partnering, this example, Cincinnati does 2 days in October. The Kenton Club does a golf ball drop for polio awareness the first part of October. So just trying to start, and then we even talked about the sign for toy drives. It'd be great if we can even make this a regional effort, which Gary's going to talk about our club's effort, but just working more together as regions. So the next one, it's the second Wednesday of the month. We encourage anybody to attend. Again, the one-to-one reading program, they're looking for coaches to start up in January. As soon as I see the date for training for that, I'll share it. It was kind of cool. We had 2 cool things happen. So last Thursday at the Boone County Schools board meeting, we were recognized during the good news item because of the event when Sheila Bear was here, and all the books. We had 1,000 kids receive one of Sheila Bear's books. And then also we received an email from the club in Jacksonville, Florida, wanting to know about that event because they're very much interested in doing financial literacy. So Jennifer and then I have a call on Thursday. So just it's cool to see our club be recognized and that the word is getting out everywhere. Gary.
Yes.
Steinford.
First, I have $1, happy $1 for the 9-Foot Boy Foundation. Great success, and thank you everyone here for participating. Many of you here had boxes in your businesses. Thanks for talking to Paul, because all state printings, we're doing all the printing for them. We collected 100 boxes plus of quality toys, and it just couldn't have been any better. The easiest project we'll ever do. Cost the Rotary Club nothing. You drop off 50 boxes and you pick them up full of toys. I mean, what could be easier than that? But it was a great success.
Thank you. Everybody give Gary. Tom sent me a cool photo and it didn't come through, so we'll put it up.
Gary is being unassuming as he always is, and that's a great part of being about Rotary. But Gary Wilmhall was handed this year at the last second. And in true Santa Claus spirit, he picked it up, he grew the white beard, he did everything. And this guy showed up at New Perceptions dropping off toys every other day. And then they had all these elves from all these other places coming in. And I've seen members of this club that came in and dropped off toys as well. But Gary, you did a heck of a job, and you made a lot of kids really, really happy for this year. Thank you.
Gas money, I'm working North Pole.
It's appropriated. Yep, they all voted on it.
Today's the last day to purchase your Florence Y'all's Y'all's Light Fest. All tickets, the tickets are $11, and $3 of those purchase comes back to the club. So don't forget to get online and make that purchase today. You can use the tickets at any time. You just have to purchase them today. Birthdays, coming up. So we will not have a meeting now until January 8th because of the way the holidays fall. So Jim Ferguson's birthday, is January 6th. And then anniversaries, Gary Stewart. It's calculated as 65 years, which I'm not sure about that. Wayne, for some reason, it has you as 1 year in the system, so that needs to get fixed. And then Jordan, which you're more than a year too. So there's something going on with the anniversaries of that. Just a reminder, we will be working in DACTV on January 8th. So please bring a device. And if you don't have a login, get with Marcus so you can get your login set up. Happy dollars. Gary had one. Anybody else have happy dollars? Dwayne.
I got a few. Driving down Houston Road, and I look over and I see this truck. And I'm like, and all of a sudden I look in there and it's one of our boxes. I want to thank Gary. Thank you for everything you've done this year. I was at a chamber event this year and the guest speaker was the Sign for Joy Foundation. And all I talked about was the Florence River. So it's a great feeling to make sure, that we know that some kids that got a Christmas toy this year, we were able to do it. Very fortunate. Number two, each year I fill out an application with Party Town and tell them how good we are. And Ian was asking, how do you get that? I said, well, it's my charm, charisma.
Yeah.
And, but I don't know if it's the gift writing, but I was able to get again 10-year bottles of Pappy Van Winkle.
Wow.
So the last auction we did, we got 1,300 bucks out of it. So need any party supplies this year, Party Town on Turfway. They've been very, very supportive of Orange Rotary. That's my happy moment.
And of course, I have 2 happy dollars for my 2 kids who are good today and who I'm very proud of. And so are you keeping that 4.0 streak alive? But second semester, sophomore year at UK College still has 4.0. Okay, Senator Schickel, turning it over to you. Be good now. Okay.
My name is John Schickel and I'm a member of the club. And today we're in for a big treat because we have our guest speaker is Senator Robin Webb, who's my colleague in Frankfurt. And truly, she's probably one of the most interesting people I've ever met. I'm going to read her bio. I normally don't do this, but it's just so, I think it's so interesting. Just so you know who's from. She's the sole practitioner. Webb is the general sole practitioner and serves the Kentucky Bar Association in several capacities, including a specialist in equine law, criminal law, domestic violence, child protection, and the KBA Foundation Board. Historically, the budget consumes, we're talking about the Senate now. Historically, the budget consumes most of her tenure as the issues that affect agricultural, criminal justice, property ownership, hemp, tourism, human trafficking, energy, conservation, and the environment. In 1921, she was selected, and this is a big deal, as a member of the conference. What year? 1921. In 20. Thank you, Sean. He looks good. Thank you, Sean. In 2021, she was selected as to be on the conference committee, which oversees the budget. In other words, figures out the budget at the very end and makes all decisions. That's a big deal. Her other works include co-chairing the Kentucky Sportsman's Caucus and the National Assembly of Sportsmen's Caucuses. Webb also serves as the president 2 terms, in 2 terms, and also on their executive council.
Yes.
Outdoor issues include hunting, fishing, trapping, shooting, junior conservation, cultural heritage, and she has a passion for policy and personally pursues these. She is a graduate of Morehead State University in mining technology and a BS in energy and reclamation with an emphasis on underground mine safety. Her hobbies include equine competition, hunting, fishing, and bluegrass music. She's a single mother of two and a member of the First Baptist Church of Grace. Now that's what's on her bio. You can go out to the Boone County Fair and see her competing in the horse shows and things like that. You can go down to Western Kentucky and she's down there hunting elk, or she is up in during budgets figuring out the budget, very complex budget issue. She has relationships, and she's been in the Senate long. She was in the House and now she's in the Senate, but she's had much more service time than I have. But she has relationships to me that are amazing. And that's what makes her so amazing and why I wanted her to come up here and talk to you today. I just went to Julian's Carroll's funeral the other day, and somebody made a comment there that I think applies to her. This person said to be a politician, but I like to think to be a public servant, you need to have two attributes. And Robin has both of them. One is you have to truly love people. And Robin truly loves people. But the other thing is you have to truly love yourself. And I can tell you, Robin Webb really enjoys being Robin Webb. Let's give a warm Rotary welcome.
How could I not enjoy it, running around with folks like John Schiffel? But yeah, I'm glad he stuck the script because we've known each other, y'all, for a long time. And Gary's smiling because he knows. We know. Well, Mayor, it's good to see you. Always. We go back a little ways too. But I love the Rotary Club, and we've got a very active club in Ashland, which I have a wonderful relationship with. Some of the best people and work year round, much like you all do, to make our community and our region better. And I just appreciate the invitation from my friend John. I am glad he kind of stuck the script there a little bit because, he has a tendency sometimes to go off that. And he's right. I grew up showing horses in Burlington, and then I went to law school at Chase, go North, and took full advantage. That's before the AA highway, which, I'm kind of glad I had it this morning, even though the truck traffic almost made me late. But back when I went to law school, you didn't have the AA highway. So when you came to school, you stayed here. And believe me, didn't go home much, but I made the most of my time here. I went to everything, everywhere. You can ask Jay Boston about that. Jay was there too. But we, my Bengals sat through some really bad seasons with the Bengals and 20 below wind chills walking across that bridge from Newport. And then the Reds, where I sat I don't remember, I was studying for an exam, sitting in the stadium when Johnny Bench retired, who was my first crush, I guess. He gets a big kick out of that to this day. But I took my law books and sat in the red seats and cried like a baby when Johnny retired. So I made the most of my time here. And it's always good to come back to my second home, so to speak, even though I live in Campbell County. And I just have to, John and I were talking a minute ago about my friend Kenny Brown. And I said, he's still my friend on Facebook, and he's with me here today. And I said, he'd be in the front row cheering for me, he'd be in the back heckling me, just depending on what mood he was in. But I miss Kenny so much. And in selecting my topic today, y'all made me select the topic, so that freaked me out a little bit. Y'all make a girl feel special because y'all this is so well done and so professional. And building relationships and governance, and governance is management of anything. Club, the school, your home, your church. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an elect, to govern, certainly. And so I'm thinking of John, I'm thinking about our relationship and our longtime friendship, literally decades. John's like me, he's had several careers in his day. But I, from being a law enforcement jailer, U.S. Marshal, and I could pick up the phone before we were elected to anything, call John and say, I've lost a federal prisoner, track him down for me, and he'd track him down. But so we go back a long way. And those kind of relationships, we had maintained a relationship, a friendship before we had these. before we had social media, before it was easy or easier to maintain a relationship. You know, it's real easy now to keep up with your high school buddies and your college buddies and your law school buddies because you got the internet. Back then, you kind of had to work at it. You had to work at building those relationships. You had to communicate, whether it was a call or a visit, face-to-face communication. And so, you know, we go back to when you have to kind of work at having a working relationship. And that's continued for us. We're fortunate to serve together, you know, down in Frankfurt. But, you know, John and I both have backgrounds that have allowed us to have civil discourse and difference of opinion. Whether it's in law, the law is real good for that. As Ed knows, you know, the law is real good. You can disagree, you can have civil discourse, you can get up and go at each other and then walk out arm in arm and go across the street and have happy hour, you know, or whatever. But and I think being an attorney has helped me do that in building those relationships. And so again, that's the camaraderie that we shared, even when you know, nobody calls me out like John does on the Senate floor. You know, and if we agree on an issue, you know, if we're kind of, a lot of people say, you know, ideologically apart, but we're really not. We agree on most things, but we're pretty forced to reckon with when I get up and agree with him and he gets up and agrees with me. And sometimes we'll be the only no vote on the board, you know, whether it's a constitutional issue or something like that we agree on. But now, you know, he will call me out. I know he had 2 bills going back to back one day on the floor, and I got a little ahead of myself because I was going to question him. I was going to grill him on that bill, you know, so I asked a question on the wrong bill. He had to call me out, and everybody still laughs about that to this day. We just get so distracted, you know, wanting to one-up each other as friends that sometimes we do things like that. But overall, you know, our journey's been pretty extraordinary, and our friendships transcended across party lines. Even on those issues every now and then that we disagree on, and we celebrated together and shared disappointments together and worked together on measures to beat measures behind the scenes. We passed measures, and you know, that's what public service is working together for a common good, a common goal. And John's right, you know, about first thing to build a relationship, you've got to build a relationship with yourself. You've got to have confidence in yourself, like yourself, whether you're in state, local government, your church, or your home. You've got to know yourself, I guess, and you got to know yourself, and if you know yourself, you know what your priorities are, and once you identify those priorities, and you pursue those priorities. And you can, you know, build consensus that way. Because in your purpose is what defines your priorities. You know, we go back to biblical times to the present times. You know, once that purpose is identified, it's a lot easier to carry your message and build a consensus. I grew up in a political house divided, so to speak. My dad had chartered most of the young Republican clubs in Eastern Kentucky. He and Mayor Bill Gorman Hazard, and was good friends with Governor Nunn and John Sherman Cooper, and they got a lot of stuff done for East Kentucky. And then he got to go to the national convention as a Republican alternate in '68. Well, my mom but yet Dad was very close to Senator Ford. They got him up through the JCs, and Dad was our Fish and Wildlife Commissioner from this area. Julie knows, through about 9 governors, mostly Democrats. Camp Robert Webb, there's his name, junior education camp on Grayson Lake. And my mother was a Democrat, Southern Democrat, daughter of railroad carpenter. And she chaired campaigns. She was on executive committee, probably a little more partisan sometimes than Dad was. But she went to the Democrat convention in '72 as a delegate. I was 12. I got to go with her. And that was a big experience for me. I've always been kind of a nerd at government nerd, if you will. And that was just a big deal for me. And, you know, that worked out okay. I mean, other than been watching debates on separate floor of the House every now and then, or having ongoing discussion about how they canceled out each other's votes. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes they voted, you know, the same way. And I grew up seeing that. They voted for the person who would be the best person for that. Because sometimes, you know, that's the way it ought to be. That's the way this country's based. So they like them in the respective parties. And I've been both. I've been a Republican, Democrat. I think both parties have changed a little bit since I registered to be either. And I don't know exactly what I would be now, but I think there's about 3 subsets to each. But so party doesn't define me and my service. It never did. It doesn't. My people define me. And to try to do what's best for them. And I've been there 25 years, served 10 in the House, and been in the Senate, had a major district change in 2013. I got elected in 2009. I won 2 elections, special elections, 2010. I had Bracken Robertson, almost all of the AA highway. And then due to the coal industry decline and you all picking up a lot of population here in my district, went back. I picked up Ashland, where I was born. Kind of makes sense if the Supreme Court was drawing my district, and it would be exactly what it is in the corner, northeast corner of the state. And it's a pretty perfect district. But you know, I've been very fortunate because I look at things about my focus is my people. It's not my next race. It's not, I don't have any other higher aspiration. So that's who I am. And I grew up in an environment that let me be who I am, politically and personally and developmentally. And you know, I'm not perfect. I mean, and that's another thing. You know, when you deal with yourself, you gotta be honest with yourself because your people see right through that. And had some challenges. We've all had challenges, health challenges, domestic challenges, whatever it is. And I don't care to talk about any of that because that's my narrative. And I'll be glad, you know, if somebody's got a question about my life, it's an open book. I'll be glad to talk to you. It's like a bad case. A fact in a bad case, Ed, you put that out there first. You can let the prosecutor. But, you know, so again, my legal training has helped me a little bit. But that's about dealing with yourself. And then the relationship that you deal with your colleagues and your peers, you know, gotta be honest. When I was a staff and ladies in LRC, I had a boss tell me the only thing you've got down here is your word. It's the only thing you've got down here, whether you're a lobbyist, whether you're elected, whether you're in an agency, because people find out pretty quick where you are. And then if you do that, you know, you can listen, you got to listen, and you got to be open, and because not everybody's going to agree with you, and you go down there and you think, well, you know, I'm pretty smart. They sent me, I'm right most of the time. Not always. You got to acknowledge that. You got to listen to the other side. You got to respect the other person. Kentucky's diverse. We're a diverse state. I'm a rural legislator. You know, my people in Louisville don't understand what my people go through, what we have and what we don't. I had one tell me the other day, said, well, you've never used an outdoor toilet. I'm like, oh, yes, I have. Or, you know, we don't have public transportation where I am. We don't have services. We've got deserts. So, you know, you've got to educate them. You've got to let them educate you. And sometimes compromise isn't always a bad thing. I mean, you look back at the formation of the country, not a bad thing. We have our present congressional structure because of compromise. We have the Constitution because of a compromise. And that experiment's worked pretty well for the past few hundred years. And you find commonality, like John and I, we've got Constitution is our sportsman's issues. We've got the budget, transportation. I mean, those things that we both care a lot about. So, you know, you find commonality with the people that you're working with. And you let the disagreements kind of push them off to the side. Find your commonality. Our Sportsman's Caucus in Congress and in our state is the largest bipartisan caucus there is, because people concentrate on sportsman's issues. That doesn't have color, it doesn't have party. And we get a lot done. And through those caucuses, we get a caucus for everything. We get a mountain caucus, a river caucus, an aviation caucus. So there's an opportunity to find commonality. Get to know people. You know, when I was a staffer in the 80s, everybody, the legislature was like a family. Everybody was piled in. They knew each other. They knew each other's family. It wasn't as divisive, and you know, there wasn't as many walls. I use that structurally, you know, figuratively and literally, because there was not walls to keep people apart. So everybody got to know each other on a level of individuality and personal respect and friendship. And I like, you know, we've lost some of that along the way, not only in DC, but it's come to Frankfurt too, and maybe in your community. But everybody, you know, may not think like you, but they've got a reason for why they think like they think. And it's just a way to find that commonality, and that's the best way to work, get to know each other, because that's very important. Of course, you know, I was a coal miner. I was an underground coal miner, and I'm kind of non-traditional. Many women down there, I was the only one. And a lot of guys thought it's bad luck to be down underground with a woman. But you know, you have to earn the respect, and you've got to get to know them, get to know people, and sometimes I kind of act like a coal miner when I break bad on some of the boys in Frankfurt. Every now and then, you know, I go to East Kentucky on them, but most of the time I work pretty well with them. Most of the time. But thirdly, I guess in building relationships, it's the most important with your people, whoever you're working with, or you're elected by, or you're working together on a common goal. They've got to be your priority, and you really do have to love them. And if you don't, they figure it out pretty quick, and you need to do something else. If you're not in this leadership for the right reason. And you got to be accessible with them. You got to go eat with them. You've got to go to their meetings. You've got to know what drives them, what's important to them. And that's what I love about, you know, the house you ran every 2 years, and you were with your people all the time. Now, the Senate you run every 4 years, and you got 3 times the district. A little harder to do that, and that's what I probably miss the most about the house. Is that you were constantly in campaign mode, but you had a smaller district. People felt like they know you, and there's no value to that. But people, you do have to love people. That meant a lot to me, what John said earlier, because I truly do love my people. I call them my people, and they make fun of me down there, but they are my people. I'm an East Kentuckian. I'm a Kentuckian. My family came from Daniel Boone. I mean, the Webbs and the Boones that are married. I feel very invested in Kentucky, in this Commonwealth, and our form of government. And when they say, you know, united we stand, divided we fall, that's the truth. That's the truth. And I think we've got to do a lot of soul searching and where we are to keep going forward and working together, and not alienate anybody that's got something to contribute, whether we agree with them or not. So, John, buddy, I hope I haven't missed or anything.
No, you haven't. Thank you. I want to make a few comments.
Well, I got something going on. This was my show. I got the mic. See how they do. See how he does it? Okay, my buddy is calling it quits. You know, say it ain't so is over. And John's made his decision. He's retiring. He's been such a good senator for y'all. I mean, he loves y'all. He loves living here. He just is a great guy. And I just want to take this opportunity, because y'all mean a lot to him. I know that. I want to make him an admiral. We do have we have an Ohio River caucus. We actually do. But John, this is from the Energy and Environment Cabinet for Secretary Goodman and all your work. Get up here. Get all your work.
I don't know if she can smack you down. I didn't want to do the wrong thing. I certainly wasn't expecting this. Thank you very, very much, Robin. And I do want to make a few comments because before we run out of time, I know Sean's going to get the hook here in just a minute, but not for Robin. To give you some context to what Robin's talking about relationships, she's right. I mean, very often me and Robin and maybe one other person would be voting by ourselves.
They called us a name, but I won't.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, they call it the tinfoil hat caucus. Seriously, that was our nickname. And Robin was a member, I was a member, Kenny Brown was an honorary member, and there were several others. But that's how unique she was. And Robin is not defined by being a woman or so often in the Senate or in life today, if you're black, you're going to think this. If you're white, you're going to think this. If you're a woman, you're going to vote one way. If you're a man, you can throw all that out the window with Robin, because Robin very often, she is a person who casts her votes based on principle, not on stereotypes, not on victimhood. And I've seen her argue cases that were very sensitive about domestic violence, and other things. Animal rights is a big thing, where she was not taking the conventional approach that you would think someone that looks like Robin Webb would do it, and you just wouldn't. And the other thing is she's an orator. There's probably only about 5 orators in the Kentucky State Senate, and we just lost one of them, Julian Carroll. He was a great orator. But if you watch Kentucky Tonight, the summary, the reason Robin is on there so much is she's an orator. And I don't care if she's just all by herself with John Schickel or she's on the other side of John Schickel, she's going to give him help. And you're going to hear with her pointing that finger and you're going to hear a good argument on whatever she's advocating. And that's kind of a little bit of a lost art being an orator. And she is probably one of the 5 or 6 people in the Senate who is truly an orator.
I appreciate that, John. I'm just a lawyer. And you take the time in when you go to have a case and you get a good result and both sides are mad at you. That's how I leave the Capitol usually. When I go out, both sides are mad and I'm done the right thing. So
Well, and that's the other thing is she actually has a lot of friends in the Senate and in the House, both of all persuasions, because just of that reason. When she started out, she was the majority and she was in leadership and she was a committee chair, and then things flipped and she was in the minority. A lot of times people in the minority, especially like we are now, they just get mad and quit because their life is not easy. But not her. She still has an effect being in the minority because she's getting those alliances and she's not afraid of a fight and everyone knows it. And she's also not she doesn't have personality. She fights on issues, not personality. She has friendships with people who disagree with her.
Well, I appreciate that, but when I was in a position of power in the House in the majority, I never devalued or underestimated the minority. I included them on everything, every budget decision. I went to every member. I had co-sponsors of the other party on every bill that anybody wanted to be on. I included them. I was the liaison for every member on the budget, and because they represent people too, they were duly elected, and that's the way I feel. I still have those relationships. I wouldn't trade them for the world. My constitutional officers have great relationships with them. Secretary Adams for one. I mean, we all work together, and that's the way it ought to be. So, anybody got any questions? I think we're getting the hook. But any questions? John and I will answer them or get back to you if we can.
Maybe we'll take some questions after, Senator.
I'd be glad to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Actually, Senator, could you come back up for a moment? So as part of our club's initiative this year is one-to-one reading with the kids. So many of us have been trained as reading coaches with our elementary kids. So this was the book you selected. So this book's gonna be donated to the library in your name over at Stevens Elementary.
Thank you, thank you. Let's have the opportunity to visit there for the first time last week.
Awesome, Thank you. So thank you. Oh, and we have. Rifle.
Yeah.
We can get you the honor of drawing for the raffle.
Please pick mine.
It's not in politics, because everybody else gonna be mad. One's gonna be happy, everybody's gonna be mad.
Yeah.
102.
For you. Oh, Carrie.
Harry. All right.
And then one last round of applause appreciation for Barb, and I think Rosie was helping on decorating and making the place look festive for the holiday. Just a reminder, we don't have a meeting now until January, and so everybody have a fabulous holiday season.
Thank you.
Like to speak?
Are we adjourned?
We are adjourned.
Great job.